those absolute scumbags. And I'm not actually, in this case, just talking about Prince Harry in the midst of his mental breakdown in Portugal, but also the people who are feeding these lies, who are taking these too seriously, who are causing damage to the British royal family as a result. Honestly, it was so obvious that Prince Harry was using this trip to the United Kingdom as another bargaining tool, as another attempt to bounce his father, as emotional blackmail. And some people were sucked in. And that's what's super frustrating about it. I mean, this is why actually you have to rely on the independent media, not the mainstream media on this front, because I mean, The Sun was having a total crisis on Saturday. They were splashing on their front page about Prince Harry's pilgrimage and the fact that he was going to take Archie and Lilibet on this emotional visit to Diana's grave. There's Matt Wilkinson, the royal editor, published at 9 p.m. on the 26th of June. Well, just literally 21 hours later, security stub. Harry may not bring Meghan and the kids to UK next month as security request rejected days after King's olive branch. Now, we just have to stick to the facts here. There was never a change to security. There was never any indication that there was going to be a change to security. Harry's security situation has been exactly this since Megxit, when he was, by the way, warned by Queen Elizabeth II and King Charles, now King Charles, then Prince Charles, and Prince William, you are going to lose your security if you go through with this. Think about it, make sure we're going to give you that year's grace. He thought about it. Nothing has changed. Indeed, it has always been a media invention that there might even be a change, as XS81 pointed out. So Harry's G-string girlfriend, I mean, that is a reference to Charlotte Griffiths, maybe not fair given that they were intimate many years ago, but she was the first to report Harry's security. Nailed on back in January through the Mail on Sunday. And do you remember that headline? Prince Harry's stalker scare means he's nailed on to be given armed police guards. Insiders claim. And as Jen Carson-Taylor pointed out, at this point, we know those reporters in the Sussex WhatsApp group are either willfully complicit in their relentless games, as well as the smears against William or Catherine, or they are incredibly gullible and incompetent. Look, I'd say it's a bit of both, because we certainly know there is a mainstream desire to bring Harry back to the UK to cause drama for the British royal family. They definitely want that to happen, and they do believe absolute bull. I mean, come on. This show exposed the fact that Harry's so-called stalker was a fan, an African woman who had travelled to Africa and they had previously happily posed with. Come on. That was never going to change security, and shame on the Mail for pushing that narrative, even though at that point they were trying to cozy up with Harry ahead of the court case, hoping that he was going to settle. That's the thing. I'll always tell you what's really behind this coverage. And the most ludicrous thing is, in the midst of this breakdown that Harry is currently having, he's still briefing his favoured media outlets the fact that he's on holiday, which no one knew, which puts him under a security threat. This to People magazine. Look, Meghan Markle and Prince Harry take family vacation in Europe, it's Portugal, as questions swirl over the UK visit. And they said they are currently vacationing there with their children as well. And then it's just total madness, because People reports Harry and Meghan have planned public appearances. Archie and Lily not expected to attend any public engagements. It then reports The Telegraph saying that Harry is reconsidering the visit. But then they go on to report People understands that the details shared by the Sussexes on Friday night remain unchanged. So it's a mess. It is a total mess. And what's interesting is that Harry is now realising that the only newspaper in the UK that will take him seriously is the hard-left, monarchy-hating Guardian. And the briefing to the Guardian over the weekend was truly nuts. And I'm actually...
Prince Harry is once again at the centre of intense royal headlines. New reports and online speculation claim the Duke of Sussex is deeply upset following the outcome of his UK security dispute, and King Charles's reported decision not to intervene. Some reports have also suggested this could affect future travel plans involving Meghan Markle, Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet.
I'm actually
These claims
ashamed of The Guardian for publishing this. They write, the Duke of Sussex fears his children will not meet King Charles in the coming days after the UK visit was pulled out from under their feet at the 11th hour. It wasn't. As I say, nothing has changed. Prince Harry and Meghan were planning their first trip to Britain as a family in 4 years for events related to the Invictus Games. The Duke was said to have been excited for Archie and Lily to be reunited with Charles during the visit early next month. However, the family trip now appears uncertain after the government declined his request for police protection outside royal residences. A source close to Harry said on Sunday the prince was distraught at the development and that he would not subject his children to being chased by paparazzi wherever they go from the moment they step off the plane. Harry, you live in California. What are you talking about, mate? They said Harry was exploring other options to make the trip happen, but feared this would not be possible without proper security arrangements. The source told The Guardian their plans to see family, friends, and visit various charitable causes close to the Duke's heart have been pulled out from under their feet at the 11th hour. He's looking at every option to try and get the family here safely and keep them safe when they're on the ground. If he can find a way to do that, he will. The hope is that they can meet their grandfather, but there is no way that can happen if they are chased by paparazzi wherever they go from the moment they step off the plane. He won't put his children through that. But what is actually happening is that Harry is having a breakdown on holiday and he has lost the plot. And you can imagine how difficult it must be if you're part of his team who have just released the schedule to the media on Friday. Then Harry on Saturday freaks out and says, pull the whole thing. I mean, it's so embarrassing. It is so childish. Celebrities come here all the time under far more threat than Harry, and they just get by if they want to. And there's also no pressure. There's no demand for Harry to be in this country. Trust me. There's no demand for Meghan to be in this country. Actually, there's not even a demand for the children to be in this country. We don't care anymore. What we care about is the drama and the fact that he continues to damage the British royal family to such a strong degree. I'm not going to lie, I also do care about King Charles's weakness, and his weakness on this is really disturbing. Indeed, I am told that Charles is still open to a meeting. William isn't, Camilla isn't, but Charles is. If you value the whole truth and nothing but the truth on these royal stories, make sure you subscribe to Outspoken right now. It allows me to work outside of the MSM and the Royal Rota. And Tom Sykes, who I think is one of those journalists who feels very betrayed by Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, has now really come out against the Duke, saying paranoid Prince Harry has betrayed everyone and will sacrifice anyone to get what he wants. And he says at the heart of the discredited Sussex brand sits a man, Harry, in the throes of some kind of profound mental dysfunction. Unbelievably, I understand the king is still willing to meet Meghan and the children if they fly in for a day. This is a humiliation that must be avoided. And Sykes then went into quite a lot of detail about Harry's mental breakdown during this holiday in Portugal, confirming that he is in tears and going all out with unpleasant histrionics. Watch.
I'm told that Harry is basically retreating into paranoia, severe depression, anxiety, that he's been crying over this. They're on holiday in Portugal. We suspect fairly near Eugenie. Oh, I did it again. I confused Beatrice and Eugenie. We suspect that they're at that luxury resort that Jack Brooksbanks managers, and where they're said to have purchased the property. But it was in People magazine, which, as we know, is the sort of school magazine of the Sussexes, where they put all their notices. So they are in Portugal. But yeah, I've been told that Harry in tears, like his voice breaking when he's been speaking to people on the phone.
I mean, it's a joke. Rebecca English, who, of course, writes on behalf of Buckingham Palace as the head of the Royal Rota, said that after a week of claim, counterclaim, reverse ferreting, and suggestions about what individuals may think, as regards reports Prince Harry has accepted an offer of accommodation on the royal estate, no such overture is understood to have been received by the royal household. So, as Brittany of the Royal News Network put it, being part of Harry and Meghan's PR team must be absolute hell. The series of absolute blunders over their just 5-day visit is insane. But at least on the bright side, Ravek is telling Harry that they've reviewed his security needs for this trip and found there was nothing of concern. That should make him feel better. And of course, Brittany, if we were dealing a sane individual who wasn't constantly living in paranoia, constantly believing that the British royal family were in some way wanting to kill him, and I'm not even joking when I say that, by the way, that is honestly where his head is at, then he would feel that way. But because he is constantly looking for drama, constantly looking for people to bring him down, he has literally destroyed, I believe, the one chance he had to bring anyone on side, Brittany.
He definitely did, Dan. This stunt was just sheer stupidity on multiple levels. I don't even understand what the attempt was and what they were trying to achieve, like maybe something. But this was just a series of absolute blunders that makes them look terrible, their PR team look terrible. And at the end of the day, it's really accomplished nothing but I think turn more people against them. You cannot pursue this level of stupidity and not have it backfire on you. And Prince Harry, of course, living in the land of delusion, he's a narcissist, paranoid, all these things is simply just not helping him. It's not helping Meghan. It's not helping anyone. And the reality is, Ravek has looked at his case multiple times at this point. Every time he comes to the UK, they can do a review and assessment, and they haven't found anything to be concerned about. And so I don't know what he just seems to think that there's the whole world against him and everything. I can't imagine living with somebody like him at this point, between Meghan's absolute maniacal narcissism and Harry's delusional paranoid narcissism. I mean, it just must be hell to live with them on every level.
Those
I
poor
know.
children, actually.
Awful.
And poor Jack Brooksbank and Princess Eugenie, who clearly have found themselves in the middle during this holiday. Brittany, I guess there are still the few people who are swallowing the Sussex propaganda. And, you know, I always like to present both sides. So one of them is Chris Shipp, who is the royal editor for Woke ITV News. And he has actually been community noted on X over this. So he posted the arguments over Prince Harry's UK security rumble on. Now Harry considering not bringing Meghan and children with him to UK next week after being told he will get nothing more than the police phone number for a liaison officer. Whatever your view of Harry and Meghan and their decision to leave the royal family, it seems bizarre that King Charles's son and grandchildren, who are 5th, 6th and 7th in line to the British throne, get zero public security, but Taylor Swift does when she is in the UK. Now, one of the community notes Brittany read, other than the monarch, the only royals to get 24/7 security are the Prince of Wales and his family. The other working royals are only given that when they were on public engagements. Beatrice and Eugenie, then exactly 5th and 6th in line to the throne, lost Met security in 2011. The other thing is, Brittany, this Taylor Swift example is being used hugely irresponsibly. And I would expect someone like Chris Shipp to know better. But actually, Brittany, he isn't a journalist, in my view. He's part of the mainstream media, yes. But when it comes to Harry and Meghan, he is a propagandist for them because Tom Bradby is very good friends with him and is his boss, effectively. And Harry parrots all of this stuff to Tom Bradby directly. So Chris Shipp feels like he has to be their mouthpiece. But the Taylor Swift thing is so irresponsible to report it in this way. Brittany, if Taylor Swift arrived in the country with Travis Kelce tomorrow, she would receive absolutely no police security. She received police security once, Brittany, when she arrived in the country for those Eras gigs at Wembley Stadium, and there was a terrorist threat, which we don't like to talk about, right? Because you'd actually are meant to keep these security issues quiet, Harry, if you knew anything about it. There was a direct terror threat. She was bringing in something like £1 billion to the UK economy, and they decided that they wanted the concerts to go ahead, and as a result, she would be given police security on that one visit. So if there were a terror threat against Prince Harry, he would get it and no one would complain about that. So this idea that Chris Shipper's pushing, that Taylor Swift can just swan into the country and get police security, is just not even close to true.
It's not, Dan. And what's so important here, too, is the Ariana Grande concert in Manchester and the terrorist attack that happened there. And there was a threat in Austria. I think that the security came along after the Austrian concerts
the Vienna
were canceled,
concert was
and they
actually
moved
cancelled.
them
Yeah.
because of a terrorist threat.
And also,
so
Brittany,
there was,
remember the Axel Rudakabana case? It was a Taylor Swift dance class where the 3 little girls were stabbed to death.
Yes, exactly.
All of that happened at that time.
Yes. So all of that coming together, I mean, obviously, it's incredibly important for somebody who's bringing in so many people to one central location. It's important to have security. It's important to have security around the stadium, around her, because she is bringing so much attention and so much money. Harry, in this instance, I hate to tell him this, but he's constitutionally irrelevant, and so are his children. And as time marches on, and this happens in every single royal family, as time marches on, Harry will get more and more and more irrelevant, and so will his children. Because as the Wales's kids have kids, this just basically Harry leaving with Megxit sped up the inevitable. This would have always happened to Harry and Meghan, always. I mean, you have to think